Hello everyone, and welcome to my video submission for the National Elementary PE Teacher of the Year Award, sponsored by Shape America. My name is Mike Graham, and I have the honor of representing the Midwest District. I've been teaching physical education since 1996, and I currently work at Williamsburg Elementary School in Geneva, Illinois. Before we jump in, let me give you a brief overview of what you're going to see during this presentation. I'm going to start off by giving you some background information about my school and about my students. And then we'll spend the bulk of our time discussing the learning environment and unpacking a typical unit of instruction within my program. My school district is located in a suburban setting. It's 35 miles west of Chicago along the Fox River Valley. I teach in a unit school district that's home to one high school, 2 middle schools, 6 elementary schools, and 1 preschool. I teach at the largest elementary school, Williamsburg Elementary. Williamsburg is home to approximately 500 students. The demographic makeup of my school is 86% Caucasian, 8% Hispanic Latino, 2% Asian, 1% Black, and we have 3% of students who identify with 2 or more races. The city of Geneva is primarily a white-collar, upper-middle-class community who value education and are heavily involved in the school system. 5% of our student population is considered low income, and they qualify for free and reduced lunch program. 2% of our students are English language learners, and 11% of our students have IEPs and qualify for specialized resource services. Our student attendance rate is at 96%. And we only have a 2% student mobility rate. Taking a look at my teaching situation, I typically have 24 individual classes, 4 of each grade level, K through 5. Students receive PE 2 times a week for 30 minutes, and my average class size is 22 students. In that 30-minute lesson, I typically include 4 components. I begin with an instant activity or warm-up. This gets students moving quickly with little direction and physiologically and mentally prepares them for our time together. This is followed by our instructional time. Here's where I'll bring the students into our whiteboard or our TV area to discuss our what, why, how. It's critical to spend time addressing these components because students need a clear understanding of what we're working on, why it's important, and how they'll know where they're at in relation to the grade level outcome or standard. Next, we transition into either skill practice or skill application activities, depending on where we're at in a unit. Students will engage in activities designed to give them maximum practice time on whatever skill or concept we're working on for the day. And finally, I conclude with some sort of closing activity, which could be a quick verbal check for understanding, a formative assessment using Plickers or a Google form, or just a recap of what we've learned today and having students reflect on their learning experience. Now that you have some background information on my teaching situation, let's take a look at the learning environment. And let me preface this by saying there's a lot that goes into creating an environment that's conducive to student learning. I mean, a lot. And I'm just going to hit the highlights for time's sake and touch on the physical space, some of the rules and procedures that I use, and then the climate that I strive to create every day. That being said, here's a shot of my gym space from the entry doors. Looking into the gym, you can see it's a beautiful space. We've got plenty of room for all kinds of activities. We have access to technology. I've got a large screen TV on a cart. I've got a projector and another screen. Students have access to iPads. We've got a stereo system, Bluetooth pedometers. I mean, there's nice wall decor with the bulletin boards. I've got that whiteboard area. There's a big attached storage space there through the double doors in the back. And then my office is right on in the gym there, right on the left-hand side. Now here's a shot of me standing at my office looking out into the gym. And those are the entry doors there on the right-hand side. And we also have this 40-foot traverse climbing wall. We've got 6 adjustable height basketball hoops, that gorgeous wood floor. And you can see this is a great facility to teach in. Now, as great as that physical space is, in order to make it work efficiently and effectively, I've established some foundational procedures that help guide students in being self-reliant when they come to class. So let's take a look at some of those. The very first thing students do as they enter the gym is to look at the entry easel, and they follow the directions to get started. This little dry erase board has really helped maximize my instructional minutes and really keep my transitional times between classes running smoothly. Since I don't start off each class in the same way, Just having a spot for students to access information when they need it to begin class is just ideal. They can see their grade level and then the instructions for how I want them to get started. I have this poster up on a wall in the gym that identifies what I consider to be the major class management procedures. These include things like my class signal, when to get drinks or use the bathroom, and how we get ready to leave when class is over. So the class signal that I use to start and stop the class is music. And students know that when the music's on, it's their time. Time to start the activity, begin the game, talk to their friends, get a drink, use the bathroom, etc. But when the music goes off, then it becomes my time. And students know that when the music stops, they're to stop and listen. When students do need to get a drink or use the bathroom, I have some battery-operated LED light switches that I mounted to the exit door. Whenever a student leaves, they simply flip the switch on, and when they return, they switch it off. This visual signal serves as an indicator to let other students know if someone's already out at the bathroom and they need to wait, and it also serves as a signal for me just in case there's an emergency, a lockdown, a fire drill, a tornado drill. I know I need to get all of my kids to a safe spot, so if I see the lights are on, I know I'm missing some students and I know where to go find them. I also have some other procedures that help my students function more independently, like these desks in the corner for students to get a Band-Aid or Kleenex if they need one, and a place to put any personal belongings that they may have brought into the gym with them. Right next to those desks, I've got some hooks on the wall for students to hang sweatshirts so they're all in one location. They're not laying all over the floor where they could become a safety hazard. And those hooks are right next to our lineup line, so students walk past those sweatshirts as they leave, which really helps cut down on our lost and found pile at school. Here's a look at the red line where students line up facing that door to get ready for their teacher. Again, you can see the entry easel as students come in the door on the left, as well as those light switches that I put on the right door and those desks I talked about. Another important aspect of the learning environment is making sure that every student has their own equipment to use whenever possible. This ensures more time is spent on task, working with various equipment, and practicing skills. When students are focused on what they're doing with their own equipment, they're afforded more time to explore, experiment, and create. This results in students continuing to build skills upon each other as their confidence levels rise. I also like to offer a variety of equipment to practice with so that students can choose and experiment with what type works best for them. This quote that I've come across really embodies my why as to the importance of skill development in children. It says, children who possess inadequate motor skills are often relegated to a life of exclusion from the organized and free play experiences of their peers, and subsequently to a lifetime of inactivity because of their frustrations in early movement behavior. I mean, wow. Like, let that sink in for a moment. If we don't get this right, if I'm not allowing time within every lesson for students to practice skills, concepts, and behaviors, I'm essentially setting them up for a lifetime of failure. So there is great responsibility on my part as a teacher to equip all students with adequate skill development so that they can continue to be functionally active for the rest of their life. Now, people often ask me, what are your rules in the gym? And it's funny because I really only have one, and that focuses on the concept of respect. I mean, respect for the teacher, for each other, and for our equipment or our space. It's not a long list of do's and don'ts. It's simply centered around treating others how you'd like to be treated and taking care of the things around us. In creating that climate of mutual respect, there's a banner that I had made that hangs in my gym and serves as my mantra, pretty much sums up who I am as a teacher. And this will always serve as a reminder to my students that they matter. I try to ensure that students' social and emotional needs are met by using teachable moments as they arise during class. Social emotional learning to me isn't a prepackaged curriculum. It's not an assembly. It's not something that's done randomly throughout the year. It's something that I'm intentional about. It's the realization that each student needs something from me, and it's my job to be sensitive to those needs and to connect with them on a relational level. You see, I want to create an environment where all students can succeed, where they all feel good about themselves. I mean, look at those smiles. Like this student with muscular dystrophy who's confined to a wheelchair. He couldn't support his weight on skates but found success on this roller racer scooter during our skating unit. The following year, we got him a special bike to be successful. This particular student was terrified of falling, so I built this glider out of PVC pipe to help her maintain her balance. This student with Down syndrome had to use some heavier metal cups in order to be successful during our cup stacking activities. All those experiences of success lead to increased motivation and risk-taking. And when students are motivated, they can accomplish anything. When students feel valued, accepted, and have a sense of belonging, they flourish. Students in my class know that they're in a safe place and that they're loved. They know it's okay to laugh and be silly, and that it's okay to put yourself out there once in a while, even if it is to get slimed in front of the whole school. Teaching to me is about relationships. And if I've done my job right, it will be the thing they cherish most long after they leave my classroom. Now for this final section of the video, I'm going to unpack a gymnastics unit that focuses on balance and basic stunts and tumbling. I'll give you a general overview of how I do that, along with some of the activities, resources, and assessments I use in the process. First, I begin planning any unit of instruction by looking at the standards and identifying the grade level outcomes that coincide with the content that I want to teach. Here we can see the concepts I should address, like balance, weight transfer, rolling. I can see the suggested outcomes for the various grade levels, and I can begin to build my unit around those themes. I have a crate that contains all the shaped GLOs. They're color-coded and sorted by grade level. I'll pull the ones that I'm going to focus on and post them up on my whiteboard. This is used as a point of reference for me during my instructional times with the kids, and it's a nice advocacy piece for visitors to see what kinds of things the students are learning. My next step in designing a unit is determining what kind of evidence I need to collect in order to show what students know or are able to do. Here's some examples. I often use a Google form on my iPad to track my observations of students' performances. Here's a sheet of individual balances that students are using. At the end of this activity, I've got a built-in self-assessment piece as to the skills that each student can do. I use pictures a lot to gather a snapshot of skills or understanding students have and include those into digital portfolios. Another great assessment tool that I leverage is the use of video. I use a video delay app to allow students an opportunity to watch their skill performance and then try it again. This visual feedback is a powerful learning tool. Finally, I may incorporate a quick formative assessment using Plickers. I typically use them to collect cognitive data to see if students are grasping the content. But here I'm using them as a rating scale for students to self-assess and reflect on their own perceived level of competence within particular skills. The last step of planning a unit includes deciding on the activities I want to use and making an overall plan for the sequence in which the lessons will progress. I like to introduce the unit with a short video of gymnastic highlights to pique student interest and inspire them to see just what the skills we're going to practice look like at an elite level. Some of the other instructional activities I use include having students in small groups of 2 or 3 at a mat, taking turns following along with various animal walks, rolls, locomotor travels that are shown up on our projector screen using animated GIFs. These looping videos allow students to watch the skill over and over. It frees me up to circulate the gym and monitor student progress, as well as diagnose and direct students that may need additional support. Here's an example of that. You're looking at a double kindergarten class of about 50 students. Now this is during our last class of the day. We're working on various animal walks across their mats. They're following along with animated GIFs that are shown up on the projector screen at the front of the gym. You can see the students are grouped here in about 3 or 4 to a mat. They've got little station signs on each cone that say start here, so they're all starting on the same side, working their way across the mat, trying some different kangaroo jumps, it looks like there. I see some bear walks. And you can see they're all taking turns, working at their own pace, practicing the different movements, getting several repetitions. And I can just scroll through those animated GIFs up on the screen and instantly move them to the next activity.
All right, today our students are working on some individual balance poses, and each student has a sheet that looks like this. with a variety of different ways to balance their body. Now they're going to take that sheet over to a mat and they're going to explore some of these ways to balance. And if they can complete that balance and hold it still for 5 seconds, they're going to circle it on their sheet. Every one that they can do, they're going to circle. And if they come to one that they can't do, they tried it, but they can't quite do it yet, they'll put an X through it. So we'll go see how the kids are doing. So you see we've kind of got the mat spread out in a big circle, and we've got about 2 students at a mat. So they've got a lot of space. They've got their card, and they start to circle ones on their sheet that they tried that they can do, or they put an X if they tried it and they can't quite do it yet. So good. So each group is trying a variety of balances, see which ones they can do. Nice. We're off to a good start over here. Got the first 4 on the sheet. Nice. So they can go in any order they want. You got the splits? And you got at the bridge? Nice. Look at the side plank. It's good. Let's see. Whoa, the handstand. So this activity is more about the kids exploring different ways to stretch and balance and to try to hold some of those positions. And to get a feel for lots of different ways to balance their body. Excellent, Lulu. So which one was that? Oh, are you sure? Was it this one? Yeah, that one. There you go. I bet you could do that other one next to it too. Good job. We must have an elite gymnast over here. She's got the... Are you doing the Dazzler, Grace? Awesome. Let's see that one. Yep. That's it. Looking good.
Next, students would build on the familiarity of the individual balances and work cooperatively with a partner.
Our 3rd graders are playing balance bingo today, and they've got some bunch of different balances that they can choose from, or they can create their own. They have a bingo sheet at their mat with their partner, and it's numbered 1 through 5. They will run out to the middle and pick up 1 card. Now I've put aces, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s in the middle. They'll pick up that card, they'll bring it back to their mat. Let's see. You guys have a 3, so you got to try something with 3 points of balance. Good, at 1 hand and 2 feet. Let's see a 3-point. A head and 2 hands, nice. Then that means you guys can mark off 3 on your sheet. So they'll look at their sheet and they'll mark a 3 off somewhere. Great, and her partner went to go get another card. They got a 1 this time. So let's see a 1-point balance. That is a 1-point balance. Oh, good, and that is a 1-point balance. Excellent. So if they can hold their position for 5 seconds, they're going to cross off their number on the sheet and then go take a new card. When they've got 5 in a row, then they've got bingo.
Here, students are combining previously learned individual balances with a group to create different stunts and formations. They use an app on the iPad called Balance It, which is loaded with dozens of different balance combinations. Students work cooperatively to decide which formations they want to attempt and how they can best contribute to the group's success. Here you can see one of our culminating days of the unit with some 5th graders working at different gymnastic stations. These stations are set up in a station rotation format where each group gets a few minutes to work at each station and apply a variety of skills that they worked on in previous lessons. In conclusion, I trust this video helped give you a deeper understanding as to who I am as a teacher and the quality of my teaching. That I intentionally design lessons that help students develop physical literacy, that the expectations for learning are shared with students, that instruction is aligned to the standards, that assessment is embedded into the instruction and it allows students to be responsible for their own learning, And finally, that students are moving and learning all at the same time. And that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching.